Добрий день.
Good afternoon. My name is Olga Atamanova, and I want to thank everybody who joins Ukraine Media Center Ukraine Forum. I want to introduce you our next speaker. Joining us online is Vasyl Bodnar, Ukraine's ambassador extraordinary and plenipotentiary to Turkey. Good afternoon. Glory to Ukraine. Glory to the heroes. It's been 11 months of the full-scale invasion of Russian aggressor in our land. So let's start our conversation with this: the 11th month of the full-scale invasion, full-scale war. How did they influence our relations with Turkey? What did we make during this month? Turkey expressed themselves as the real strategic partner. They extended both humanitarian and strategic aid to us, all kinds of support in organizing the negotiations, to play the mediation role, and there is also extensive support of the armed forces of Ukraine thanks to the supply of such product as Bayraktar, armed personnel vehicles, and other types of equipment that we traditionally don't talk about, but everybody knows about. So the war defined who is the friend and who is just standing aside. So real friends like United States, Poland, Turkey, they started supporting Ukraine with everything they can, and there are countries who only keep talking and without action. So it's very important for us that Turkey turned out to be that real friend who supports Ukraine more than it looked in the very beginning. Mr. Vasyl, in this war, Turkey undertook such a powerful role as to the humanitarian component. We can talk with confidence that thanks to the participation of Poland, we were able to implement the idea of the grain corridor. How does it operate, and what is the forecast there? For what we understand, the president of Turkey is mostly interested in this initiative to keep working, and he takes all necessary and possible efforts for that. In reality, this is the biggest interest is on the Ukrainian side, because it's us who sells and supplies our grain to the world markets. But yes, Turkey contributes a lot to this global food security. Obviously, it was possible to open this corridor thanks to the armed forces of Ukraine, because we were able to beat the enemy out of the northern part of the Black Sea. Now this agreement is in operation. Obviously, it's not the scale that we would like to pass the inspections, because now the representatives of the aggressor country participate in this joint control center, and they try to suspend this process of inspections. We could do more without that, but for today it's the only way that we can supply those big volumes of our grain. Now the issue of continuation of this initiative is brought up, because it's expiring in 90 days. So now there are talks about extension of this term. The president of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky, also initiated the Grain from Ukraine program, and it's the matter of cooperation with Turkish side, and a lot of Ukrainian grain is going to Turkey and being processed there, and from there is going to those countries which require these type of products. I mean the grain, and as pasta products and so on. And I'm sure it will be one of the arguments for implementation of the new formula of President Zelensky. One of these key elements is the issue of food security, food product security in the world. And Turkey will play its role there. As to the participation of Turkey in return of our prisoners of war, any news here? We've heard that not only our heroes, but the commanders who are currently in Turkey, they can be liberated in that way. And any more news about our prisoners of war? Well, yeah, the last week there was a visit of our Commissioner for Human Rights, and there was a number of negotiations in three-party format. the issue of the matter of a humanitarian corridor is being worked on, which would enable our injured prisoners of war, the prisoners of war, and the civil prisoners of war who end up in the aggressor country to have them liberated with the support of Turkey. And now there are negotiations whether it will be only the mediation services by Turkey or they may be brought to Turkey physically. There were negotiations between President Zelensky and President Erdogan. Also, Mr. Erdogan was talking to the aggressor country, so those issues were brought up, and the mediation of Turkey, the mediation role of Turkey may be expanded, but so far this process in the closed format. So let's wait for the results to see how it may work and how efficient it may be for our common interest. We have questions on the floor, so dear colleagues. Svetlana Yurchenko, Ukrinform, can you hear me? Yes, I can hear you clear and loud. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I want to ask for more details. You said that Russia is trying to suspend the process of inspection. What are the causes? How do they justify this suspension? Since the vessels and the owners of the vessels, they suffer financial losses. Maybe there is a mechanism to influence on Russia through United Nations, for example, so they don't suspend this process. Well, look, according to the agreement entered into, there is a 4-party inspection groups, or maybe inspection groups who enter the vessels and they inspect it for the compliance with the declared products, and there is a small number of these groups in fact, so the number of participants on the Russian side is insufficient, and Ukraine and Turkey and United Nations all emphasized it multiple times, we reiterated it. So if their inspection may be conducted on like 10 vessels per day, in reality they just extend time for every inspection. They stay on every single vessel for a long time. Obviously, the aggressor country is not interested in proper operation of the grain corridor because it will bring financial proceeds to Ukraine. So this is one of the ways how they can suspend it. So the best option would be to do the inspections only by mediators, by only UN and Turkey. There was an example of that when Russia was trying to withdraw from this initiative after the attack on the Black Sea Fleet. And the efficiency of the inspections increased multiple times. But to continue this initiative formally, unfortunately, we cannot make it without the Russian side. If they're beyond this initiative, they can resort to different provocation and will bear no responsibility in front of either mediators or Ukrainian side. In this case, we have opportunity to continue this initiative, even regardless this lengthy and intentional extension of inspection time. We can make sure that the grain goes to the external markets. Another question is, in what phase is the creation of the joint enterprise for manufacturing Bayraktar drones in Ukraine? For today, we already put together the legal basis for that. There is a company which acts in Ukraine now. It completed its preparation. There is just a recent interview by 1+1 channel with the representatives of Bayraktar who will tell in detail about all the plans and prospects of the cooperation. It will start operating within the next 2 years, and it will start manufacturing drones with Ukrainian parts. Recently, there was a test flight of this strike drone with Ukrainian engine, which shows how closely we cooperate, and I hope there will be good results for reinforcing the security of Ukraine. Another question. Yesterday, Turkish mass media reported on the 22nd of February there will be a summit in Istanbul dedicated to the anniversary of invasion of Russia in Ukraine. Can you give us more detail about this event? Who will represent Ukraine and what is the significance of this event? Well, it's very symbolic because it will be held very close to the anniversary of the beginning of the war, and it shows how important this event is for the for the Turkish side. And the representative office of the European Union acts as the organizer along with the representative offices of other European countries, and we expect somebody from the top level management of Ministry of Foreign Affairs to represent Ukraine there. Also, we expect the participation of the representatives of European Union and many experts who are deeply, profoundly study and track the war in Ukraine, and they track the influence of war in Ukraine on the global processes and processes of regional significance. Also, the issue of European integration is deeply entangled with it because we received the status of candidate and Turkey is waiting for their way to the European Union for a long time. So the West is very interested in this event, and we will keep informing you when there is a list of participants put together completely. Thank you, Mr. Vasyl. I can't help but asking about your plans for this year. Maybe you already set up your priorities, which is of utmost importance for you. What's necessary to be done this year, I mean, in terms of your work? Well, the first priority is the national security. We work on reinforcing national security in cooperation with Turkish side. The other matters, I cannot disclose them to you, but they're aimed at the reinforcement of defense of our country. And on the other side, it's obviously the implementation of the free trade agreement, because it's been signed for 1 year and we are preparing to ratify it. We have to have consultations with the Turkish side, and each should help us mitigate those consequences of decrease of trade turnover. Unfortunately, the war deteriorated our logistic possibilities, and obviously it's help and support to the Ukrainians who ended up in Turkey. I want to emphasize the orphan children. There is a fund created, the Fund of Ukrainian Child. More than 760 children are being helped and supported here in Turkey. And obviously is the matter of future reconstruction of the country to raise Turkish financial resources and material resources, and to get the Turkish manufacturing capabilities involved in the process of reconstruction. Well, you know, it's a large number of generators, transformers. Turkey supplies a lot to rebuild our power grid. So this is another important component is the political dialogue. A lot is happening in online format or through the telephone. We are in permanent contact with the ministers. We organize personal visits. So it's also one of the priorities, since the strategic partnership requires demonstration of certain results, and we were witnessing those results last year, and we will be witnessing them this year, I hope too. Dear colleagues, joining us was Vasyl Bodnar, Ukraine's ambassador extraordinary and plenipotentiary to Turkey. Thank you for joining our broadcast, and we keep working. Our team is working on preparing the schedule for tomorrow. Keep track of our announcements. Trust in our armed forces. Glory to Ukraine.